Yeah, the crawler wild's always bringing me home. Crawler wild's always bringing me home. Crawler wild's always bringing me
Hello, wild ones.
home.
Welcome to another episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. I'm very excited to have Jake Long here with me. You may know him on Instagram as Jake and the Flying Pickles. Thank you so much, Jake, for taking the time to come on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for asking me to do this. This is going to be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really stoked to get to learn a little bit more about your story. So, for people listening, I first found Jake on Instagram and his dog Pickles. They go, what is it, paragliding together?
Yes, paragliding, yeah, and skating, and we just hang out.
Yeah, he seems like an awesome dog. And is he a Belgian Malinois?
Yes, he is. He is. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So let's start with when did you first start getting into paragliding and then maybe also some of your other ones, but let's start with paragliding
Yeah,
first.
that's definitely a story in itself. During COVID, I went through just a horrible divorce. I have two
I'm sorry to hear
kids.
that. Yeah.
Um, my wife at the time, I live in Alaska. There's parts of Alaska that
Mhm.
are on the road system and parts that aren't. My ex-wife was from a part of Alaska that's a remote island, and she went there with the kids, and I was, had quite a lot of free time. And I was a very adventurous spirit my whole life, skating my whole
Yeah.
life. And yeah, so I wanted to go skydiving. That's what I wanted. I wanted to go skydiving to fulfill my new freedoms of being an involuntary single man again. But so it was COVID, right? So the center was closed because you couldn't be in close contact in the plane to do all your jumps.
Mhm.
And I had a friend who was the kind of person you would not expect to be a paragliding guy. And he just, if just nowhere near that notion would come into your mind. And he was like, "Yeah, I've been getting into paragliding." And I was like, "I bet I might be able to do that." I looked at it for a couple seconds, and I was like, "Man, that looks awesome." Because of course, living here in Alaska too, you go out on hikes and you're like, "I see that person up there who just hiked this horrible hike I just did. He's not having to hike down; he's having the time of his life." So you kind of get exposed to it a little bit. So I kind of
Mm.
knew what it was, and I contacted a local instructor, and I was like, "Are you guys open? It's COVID time." He's like, "Oh yeah, come on down. We're outside." And I went down, and we were training at a little sledding hill. And by the end of that day, I had like flown off the ground for like a couple seconds. But that
Wow.
was that was enough. I was hooked. I was there all the time, and it just turned into my life. And my instructor at the time, he was kind of like my sensei because
Yeah.
he'd been through a horrible movie style divorce too, like what I was going through at that time. So we just hung out in the mountains and flew, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's so nice that you
That's how I
guys
started.
bonded.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm sure it made you, I don't know, it's like nice when you also have like a, forgive me for not coming up with a better term, but like a safe place to be able to like hang out and like talk to somebody, especially when
yeah,
you're in a vulnerable position learning something really
yeah.
new that's like a big risk. And especially something like paragliding where it's definitely very adventurous and a lot of things could go wrong, right? So that's always nice.
Yeah, yeah. It was also nice too to just, like I said, the times I was going through, uh, to, you have a kid, you said. All of a
Yeah.
sudden you get to this point in life where all of your friends are connected to your family and, your wife at the time and this and that. It was nice to get a whole new set of friends also
Yeah.
to just, start afresh. And you always say the find your wild. I've been actually thinking about this find your wild and what does that mean, and for me at least. And that was definitely that coming anew again as an adult to, I basically had to start life all over again. And I did it exactly the way I wanted to out in my wild, which is the mountains that I have in front of me and the way I wanted to enjoy them. So that's just
Yeah.
what it meant to me.
Wow. Oh, I really love that. And thanks for bringing back in the name of the podcast, but like that's exactly why I love it so much, because it's like such a simple phrase that really gets you thinking, like, ooh, how do I find my wilds or
Yeah.
in my own way? And I'm so jealous. I have not been to Alaska yet, but like I'm sure that every time you're going and doing something like that, it's like the views are incredible.
Yeah, it's like I tell people it's like a dream every single time when
Oh,
you fly.
yeah. So I guess the logistics of it when you're paragliding, so you have to hike up a place, right? That's obviously high enough to give you way to go down. So how does the logistics work for when you go paragliding?
Well, the beautiful part about paragliding is that it's such a huge sport with many different avenues. It's like saying
Mm.
you ride bikes. Well, do you ride road bikes? Do you downhill mountain bike? Do you ride BMX bikes at the skate park? There's that level of diversity of wings now and things that
Mhm.
you can do in paragliding that sometimes we just take the kids and we go to a little sledding hill and we
Oh,
fly and we have a good time. Sometimes we hike the biggest mountain we can find. Like this spring, I did this big adventure with my friend Griffin, and we went out to Pioneer Ridge, which is like just over 6,000 feet of hiking.
mm,
And, we started at like 4 in the morning, that sort of stuff. So
right.
you can go in any different variety of places with it. But what I enjoyed the most is, you live your whole life, you're working all day long, and you get to have that nightcap of going out at nighttime and enjoying that Alaskan midnight sun, and maybe you're flying off of a peak at like 11:30.
Oh, that's so cool. And it's still kind
So,
of light out, right? Like you can
oh
still,
yeah, yeah,
wow.
it's a good time.
Yeah, that's so nice. It's like the best way to decompress, like go and do something wild and yeah.
Yeah, Alaska, I've been thinking about this, find your wild thing. And Alaskans have definitely found it. There is
Yeah.
always somebody who's out there doing just crazy, remarkable things that you don't think a human could even do. Like there's this guy in our paragliding community who is a Vietnam helicopter vet. He's got 4 sets of knees and 2 sets of hips he's done, and he beats us up every single hike we do. He's in his 80s and he's awesome. His name is Laddie.
Wow.
Yep. Just
Amazing.
there's some people who are just firing on life up here, and it's cool to try to be a part of that. Because I grew up in Minnesota. I didn't grow up in Alaska.
Oh,
So
cool. So
yeah,
when did you move from Minnesota to Alaska?
I've moved up at 18 to go to school,
Mm.
and I just didn't even really know. I honestly didn't really know the consequences of what I was doing. I was, an 18-year-old kid, and I just wanted to run away from my parents as far as I could and, have some fun with it. And I went, I've been a welder my whole life. So I wanted to go weld on the pipeline. And yeah, so I moved up here at 18 and just never looked back. And it was the best thing I ever did in my whole life.
Ah, yeah, it was really calling to you, right? Like, or maybe just getting away from your parents, but
I mean, yeah.
um that's pretty cool too. And even like I feel like there's something about Alaska, to your point before, is that I think of Alaska as there's a lot of really self-sufficient people, right? Like there's a lot of things that you kind of have to like do on your own. Like especially because you said like your or your ex-wife rather is on island, so like you're either remote or you're close to a
Yeah.
road. And there's really a sense of wilderness about Alaska that I'm from Long Island, and we don't have any bears. We don't have, like, we're just getting coyotes coming in through New York City, which is kind of crazy. And we have a very small population of river otters, but otherwise there's not really anything
Oh,
too crazy. Yeah, I've been actually on the lookout for them. I was up at
they're
6 this
mean.
morning. They are kind of mean. I heard that story about those poor ladies that got attacked. Had you heard that story before?
Yes, our local dog park, a person from Long Island would definitely not call our Alaskan dog parks a dog park. It's a big, long, like a mile and a half loop around this lake. It wasn't taken over by beavers for a long time. This is in the middle of the city. And
Mm.
the river otters came in and they will kill your dog. Like they are known
Wow.
to gang up on your dog and like have it come play like a coyote does. And
Mm.
then they'll get it in the water and they'll gang up on it and jump on its back and drown your dog. And that has happened a few times at our local
Oh
dog
man,
park.
that's
Yeah. They're
that's
mean. They're
that's
mean little
yeah, that's
bastards.
sad and scary. Yeah, I think that we have such a small population. They're very skittish. They're very elusive, but yeah, I've heard about their mean side. So even while I'm looking, I'm still in the back of my mind like they're pretty they're pretty feisty.
Territorial. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which is great. Like it's just very interesting, right? Like how and my thought process is maybe they view dogs because you guys have wolves and stuff and coyotes up there too.
Yes, we do. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so like maybe they view the canids as something else, but obviously they're territorial too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of dogs, I would love to talk about Pickles. And
Yes.
the funniest thing I was telling my husband about what you do that you were coming on the podcast, and the first video I saw was of Pickles kind of like yelling at you, like, "Come on, let's go." And
Yeah.
my dog literally does that to me when I want when he wants to be fed. So it was like a very similar reaction. So how did you get him to be so involved and love doing what you do too?
Well, so my wife is a dental hygienist and she was going to school for 2 years. So she was going to school out of state when I was up here holding the fort down.
Mhm.
So I was
Oh wow.
alone living it up for a while. My new wife, and we never
Yeah.
talked about her yet. Yes, I just
Yeah.
got married a
Okay.
year ago
Oh,
and yeah,
congratulations.
she's a
Hello.
sweetheart. She is
Oh.
awesome. Saved me also is what I say. She saved my life. But anyways, so I was alone and we had just a lot of time to work on it and um probably the best thing that we ever did though is just look at the little steps. It's
Yeah.
all a bunch of little steps adding up together. So you got to train them to come in between your legs on command. You got to train them to run in between your legs on command, which first you got to walk in between your legs on command. You
Right.
got to do all the little things. But really what we did is we would just go to a little baby mountain, like
Yeah.
a training hill, and I would fly off and he would chase me. And the first time we went, I had a big old chunk of fat off of a T-bone steak I was eating. And I flew off down the mountain, and it was maybe like a 1 mile distance he had to run. So
Right.
I had sight on him the whole time.
Yeah.
But we just started out slow. We started out with the wing not being scary because it makes a big noise when it comes off the ground,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So just all the little things, and you're having fun doing all the little things too. I mean, you're not always just focused on zero to hero. You got to get there.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly,
Gentle
just lots
gentle
of
steps.
yeah, lots of hanging out at the hill and just flying with him, and yeah.
Yeah, and so it was like it wasn't him like because I know I have another friend actually that also paraglides, which is like
Oh,
a really
cool,
niche thing.
sick.
Yeah, I know her through Instagram, but her dog kind of follows her while she runs. So I was like interested
Yeah.
if like he saw you doing it and was maybe a little interested or like you kind of pulled him in.
I mean, your dog is just gonna want to do things with you.
Yeah,
Everybody asks me, a lot of questions, but they're just gonna want to do those things with you. And
yeah.
it involves hanging out on a big hike and running down a giant hill. They're gonna like it.
Yeah, especially an active breed like Pickles. It's like he needs all that, right?
Yes, yes, yes. He's a very chill version of the Malinois. Sometimes I feel like I got gypped, But that's how I feel like a lot of people get them. You know, you get one that changes your life, and then the next Malinois you get completely ruins it. So we'll see.
Yeah. And how old is Pickles?
He's about 2 years old.
Aw. Aw. Yeah, so he's good to go. And you guys also skate together, which is also pretty cool.
Yes. Yes, we're really big on the skate joring, which it's big in Alaska for ski joring with your cross country skis, but
Mm,
hardly anybody rollerblades or ice skates like
mm.
with their dog like that. I grew up being a aggressive inline skating kid, like grinding handrails and stuff, and living at the skate park. So I've just been on skates my whole life. So of course you got to take your high-powered, very fast dog on some
Yeah.
skating adventures.
Yeah, I mean they're your engine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool. So and it's I guess I have like a funny joke is that like maybe a lot of people ski because is that like basically always snow up there? Like or no, there's a good portion of it
No,
that yeah.
no, we have
My
all the
one ignorant
seasons.
statement.
I like to describe the weather up here to maybe like the Midwest, like the northern part of Midwest. Like it's
Okay.
exactly like where I'm from in Minnesota, where it's cold and hot in the summer, but it gets very cold. It's really honestly here in Anchorage, we're so close to the ocean that it stays pretty warm in the winter. And honestly, it's a very perfect winter in my mind. Lots of
Oh,
snow, doesn't get
that's
too
nice.
cold. It snows basically once a week or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. Yeah, it's interesting too with like being right off the water. Like for me on Long Island, it's like you get a sense of like there can sometimes be a chill from being on the water, but then it also kind of keeps it warm at the same time. Like there's always
Yes.
like this kind of moving weather, which is really cool. Yeah, definitely on my bucket list to go to Alaska. So, um yeah, so you just do the paragliding and skating. Is there anything else that you do with him or
Uh, we're just always out hiking, doing something. We stay so active. We do a lot of skiing in the winter too, and snowboarding. And he's your dog. He's just always there. He's always with me. He comes to work every single day. He's the shop dog. Like I said, I'm a
oh,
welder at the welding shop. I don't know. That's a weird question because he's just always with
he's
me.
just always with you?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he's always
There's
there.
because for me, at least I think that there is some adventures I can take them on. I guess it's not as like free as Alaska, or at least like, I work in an office when I'm not doing this. So can't unfortunately bring my dogs with me. I have a 14-year-old mini Aussie who's laying down right here, and I have
Mm.
uh, uh she's going to be 5-year-old Newfoundland.
Oh
So
boy,
yeah,
nice.
she's very friendly, but she definitely doesn't know her size. So taking her out in public is sometimes hard,
Yeah.
and we were not as good with the training and everything like that too. um but you said that also you take your kids out. Do they like doing it, or were they like, Dad, you're like,
Oh, of course.
yeah, that must be
Look,
so fun.
yeah, it's all about set and setting, right? You get if you're gonna take the kids out flying, it's on a tiny little hill. We're at an elementary school when the kids
Mm,
go out.
yeah.
It's a small little sledding hill. They're never any higher than a couple feet off the ground. My little daughter, the first time she flew, she was like 6, and you put them in a wing that is, the kind of wing you would bring with a kid, an easy wing, but you just run with them and you grab onto her little foot, and then you can just run her around in a field, and you're just like, it's like you got this little kite going around. um it's a much more gentle activity than what
You
people
would think.
perceive it as. This
Yeah.
actual risk and perceived risk are much different.
Mm,
Like the risk in mountain biking, everybody loves the mountain bike and it's awesome and everybody should. But think about all those trees just whipping by it. It's the consequence of failure is very high, where that's an example of the perceived risk being low, but the actual risk is pretty high. When you're paragliding, the perceived risk is pretty high because, oh my goodness, they're up there doing this thing. But the actual risk is pretty low when you have all the training, you have good equipment, you you make it your whole life anyways. Like you
Right.
are in that life and you don't want to have an accident and you take all those moments slow that get you to being a pilot like me, where you see me doing barrel rolls and jumping off of cliffs at the very edge. And so the perceived risk is high, but the
Right.
actual risk is boiled down to very, very low.
That's
Now,
interesting. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you can see, but I got this really nice $25,000 face tattoo scar from
Oh.
where it didn't go so good one day. But on those moments, it was
Yeah.
100% my fault. It was not equipment error. It was 100% me being stupid.
Can you tell us that story? Do you feel comfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
There was like 14 red flags that came up in that day, of course, like every other good accident flying.
Right.
It was my second time at this site. This mountain was huge. It was like 4,000 feet, or just a little bit under that. But it was
Mm.
my second time there, and I was in a time crunch. And the weather was coming, and the wind was a little bit sideways. And I was a new pilot for that style of wing. I was
Mm.
flying what's called speed wing. Like I said, it's a big sport with lots of different kinds of wings. I also like to kind of compare it to motorcycles, where you can ride your Harley with your grandpa and go slow and go putt around, or you can ride a Ducati and go 200 miles an hour. Well, I was getting into Ducatis. So
Uh,
these are pretty spicy wings. And I had a failed launch where I chose a not good spot to launch, and there was some rocks and stuff. But I remember being off the ground for a couple seconds and everything was going gravy for like 2 seconds. Then I remember being upside down and I
ooh,
was unconscious and woke up like upside down and like hog-tied in my wing with like blood running over my face as I was
ooh,
like on a slope, head down on this very
oh,
steep section. And what woke me up was my wife called me because we always have this system where I tell her I'm setting up, getting ready, I love you, and she knew it was about a 2-minute flight. And about half hour later, I hadn't called her yet. Which,
oh,
if I
smart.
forget to call her, I have to give her $20. So she knew
Pretty
either
good.
she was getting some money or there was a problem. But there was a
Yeah.
problem this time, and yeah, it woke me up. Basically, I ragdolled down this boulder field with like boulders the size of like watermelons,
Ooh,
and I like broke my ankle and like had a cut about an inch wide and an inch deep and about a foot and a half long down my leg. And
ooh,
I broke my cheekbone and like I got like a rock like this in my forehead, and my eyebrow was cut,
wow.
and my face was cut. And I had a brand new puffy jacket. So uh I ripped a sleeve off of it. So there's all these feathers that just go everywhere, and I'm like
Oh,
tarred and feathered with like blood, and like my head is
oh
hurting.
my God.
So I'm like puking, of course. So I'm like hobbling
Oh.
down the trail, and it's like puke, blood, feathers, puke, blood, feathers. Like, eventually ran into another pilot who was walking up because it was just a gorgeous day.
Yeah.
After like this little storm had passed, and he helped me get down. But if I didn't have my hiking poles to help me get down off of that mountain with a
Oh,
cut in my leg and a broken ankle, it would have
that
been a
would have been,
helicopter ride for sure.
oh, expensive, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah, my friend made a joke like don't I don't know. I don't remember what it was about, but it's like don't put me in the woo woo machine, like just drive me. In regards to that. But that's a more serious incident than what his was. And wow, I'm glad you're okay, first of all. And
Yeah.
that's very scary. And I'm sure your wife is very happy that you're okay. How did
Yes,
did she meet you at the mountain? Like, how did you get
she
like taken
did.
care of? Okay,
Yeah, because of course she woke me up and I picked up the phone and I sounded out
not
of it.
good.
So she
Yeah.
made me FaceTime her and I was like, no, I'm okay,
Oh
no.
no.
And so I got on FaceTime and she left work and came and like started hiking up this mountain to find me in her scrubs. And this is a pretty hard mountain to hike. It's
Wow.
very, very steep. They classify it as difficult on the trails
Oh.
apps and stuff. You said, yeah, oh was right. But what I think happened was sometimes when you have a launch, you'll take off good for a second, but you'll drift down for a moment and you'll need to do like a little couple fairy steps to keep you going. And
Ah.
I think what happened was is I that happened and I tripped and
Oh.
just exploded in on myself. Or there was also some trees in close by and I could have clipped a tree branch as I flew by, but
Mm.
I just don't know. And
Yeah, it happens. It's happened in such a quick second that it's like it could have been either one of those things.
yeah, pretty much. And
Yeah.
I just don't know.
And also, so you said you have hiking poles with you. How do you put those on so that when you're going back down that you have them on?
Well, it's the golden age of paragliding right now, and our equipment is so nice that
Yeah.
there is collapsible poles that come down, right? And all of our equipment nowadays basically is a reversible backpack that you like put all your stuff in, and then
Ah.
you zip it open, and then you flip it all inside out, and it turns into your harness. And there's also a backpack in there, so you have a storage place for all your stuff to go down.
Oh, that's awesome. And are the
Yeah.
hiking poles like can you kind of like pull them apart or something and make them
Yeah.
smaller? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
they
Oh
get
my
to be like this big, when you get them
yeah.
all.
Right. Wow, that's pretty neat. Was did your wife find you with the guy going down the mountain?
Yes, yeah. She eventually ran into us, and you know, we
Did
still
she
had some
recognize
ways to go.
you? Did she recognize
Oh
you after
yeah.
being tarred and feathered?
We joked that I looked like I had got hit by a bear, or I'd been mauled
Oh,
by a bear.
yeah.
Um, yeah, what an ordeal. But yeah, by the time she ran into me, and by the time I crashed on the top at takeoff, so I just have
Right.
3,000-ish feet of
Oh,
difficult hiking to hobble down. So we still had some ways to go when she ran into me,
oh,
and to the point where, and it was some ways to go to the point where the ambulance could pick me up. So by the time I get there to the ambulance, the paramedics are like taking pictures because it's such a beautiful day, and they're like, "Oh, we don't ever get to come out here," and yeah,
yeah, like just gotta wait for this guy to come on down. How long was that recovery? Because you said you had face surgery and you had a pretty big gush in your
well,
leg.
it was it was right around Halloween, so I had this
Oh,
giant bunch of stitches in my face, right? So uh, we go out to the bar to get drinks and some dinner, and people are like, it's a little early for Halloween, there, guy.
oh.
And but it was like your standard a month, 6 weeks.
Okay.
I went flying again 2 weeks later, though. It bothers me. I don't want to get knocked off the horse, so
Right.
I had to get back on the horse.
Did and I'm assuming I don't know. Did you go back to that Ducati wing right
Yes,
after that? Yeah.
yes, yes. I That's kind of my specialty that I like to fly is those types of wings. Honestly, when I fly with Pickles, I use it as a reminder to chill out because it's
Mm,
pretty easy to get lost in the sauce or just
right.
get too deep into it. And a lot of people who fly paragliders, they're intense people. You have to
Right.
be. It's
Yeah.
pretty easy to take things too far. It's pretty easy to make it not fun anymore because
Right.
the main objective with paragliding in full size wings is to fly as long as possible, to be in the air as long as possible. And if you don't go and you fly those 100 miles, you're going to be disappointed in yourself.
Mm,
And flying with the dog is, to me, is a good reminder of you don't have to fly your smallest wing and go the fastest you can. You don't have to get as close to the ground as possible. You don't have to fly 150 miles every time you fly. You can just fly because of the reasons why you got into it was
yeah.
to go do those things, to take a second back and just to sit in the air and have a good time and to enjoy those beautiful moments.
Yeah.
So flying with Pickles is really made flying so much more fun because I made flying really competitive on myself for a long time.
Yeah.
And you just lose the magic. You need to keep the magic.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's nice, like going with your best bud, right? To be able to be like, oh, like he's having such a great time. I know, like,
Oh yeah.
and you have kids too, so it's, I'm sure, very similar when like they're having a good time, you're having a good time, sort of a thing. So
Yeah.
I definitely could see how that eases out the competitive nature of that sport.
Yeah, definitely. And plus, when you're out there and you're flying and it's a good day, we're going up. I don't know if you know this, but the goal is to go up on a full
Oh, I
size
didn't
wing.
know that actually. Yeah.
And if you've ever like seen birds or eagles or anything, and you're like, "Well, it's an eagle up there," I guarantee you, it's not flapping its wings. It's because
Right.
it's in hot air rising or ridge lift, which is where you have a hill or a mountain, and the wind hits it, it's going to go up.
Mm,
You get in that column of lifting air, and you're going to go up. It's like riding a boat down a river. The
mm.
river just happens to be air going up, and
That's
you're going to
very
go up
cool.
with it. You're going to go up with it. So when you're going up and you're out there with you on a good day in Alaska, you got a couple of your buddies out there in the column of lift, and and you look over and you're hanging out with your friends in the sky, and sometimes there's an eagle in there with you, and
Oh.
sometimes hey, there's Crazy Jake with his dog, 3,000 feet off the ground, having more fun than all of us put together, and
That's that's very
it's
cool.
just fun. And he
Yeah,
looks so cute with the goggles on. I mean, come
he
on.
looks very cute. He's adorable. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is great," and I love Pickles. Which is very funny that this is the second animal I've had on the podcast that's named Pickles. I've had
Oh, really?
another, yeah, but different animal. So, I had another girl on, and she is an Australia. She's from Australia, and she's a bushcraft survivalist. And
Oh, sick.
her cockatoo is named Pickles. So,
Does she take the bird with her on
yeah,
adventures?
all over. I'll send you
That is
her
so
Instagram.
sick.
She's really awesome. She has a great story. So yeah, it was very fun, but also Pickles, which
Yeah.
I thought is pretty funny. It's a cute name too.
Yeah, well, I got him from a rescue and he was already named. So I was like, I am just dumb enough to keep that name. So we're going to keep it.
Was he already like responding? How old was he when you adopted him?
So it's kind of a funny story too. And I adopted him because, um, being a guy that likes to jump off of mountains with bed sheets, a guy like that probably doesn't need to be drinking alcohol. Which for my basically my whole adult life, I did struggle with alcoholism, and I had gotten sober, been sober for a couple of years now, but
Oh, congrats.
it was my first St. Patty's Day sober, and I was I was like, I've been thinking about wanting a dog. Me and my wife already had two dogs, but I never had my own dog. I can't take her
Oh,
dogs flying. What if I break her dogs? Um,
yeah.
so I had been thinking about getting a dog, and my wife was, gone to school, like I said. And there was an event happening at the local shelter for St. Patty's Day. So like, well, let's just go take a look because that always just turns out with you leaving empty-handed, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and of course, it was the magic story of he picked me and everything, and I
Oh.
I had no clue what a Malinois was, uh, and so basically, I show up to the rescue, and there's like 15 of these Malinois, no, maybe a little less, but
Mm,
they had gotten a bunch of Malinois from a Malinois rescue down in California.
mm.
So I don't really know where they came from. But of course, he picked me, and we went on a little walk, and I'm FaceTiming my wife, and she's like, "That's a Malinois. You're an idiot." And I was like, "This is my dog. Don't talk to me like that." And so he came home, and basically, just from the start, we got him at like 3 months, 4 months
Oh,
old.
aw.
So from the start, just immediately going out in the mountains and just playing and playing and playing. And like that day, we went out in the mountains, and I was gonna fly off with and have him chase me, but the winds weren't right. So we just went running around. So I let him off the leash for the first time, and I just go sprinting up this hill. And he hops on my arm and grabs it like he wants
Oh.
to take that thing to dinner with him. And I don't know anything about his past, but I definitely did not train him to be a cop and rip my arm off. So, um, but yeah, that's the story of how we got old Pickles here.
Oh, oh, that's great. I love that story too, and it's also really great too that the rescue kind of brought a bunch of Malinois to Alaska with a bunch of active people. Not that people in
Yeah,
California aren't active, but like I don't know, there's something that like I'm like, that I feel like that really works. That makes a lot of sense, you know?
there's a pretty famous rescue in California though, where they take like dogs that don't make it the cut for military stuff and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that's where it came from, but yeah, you need to be a Malinois person to
right.
have one of these dogs, and the kind of person that's like, let's go hike this 3,000-foot mountain 3 times tonight and fly off of it. You're probably a pretty good candidate. When I was at the rescue picking him up, uh, before paragliding, I was really big into rock climbing, just horribly addicted to climbing. And the person who was working the dog rescue was also somebody that worked at the rock gym. So they were like, "Yeah, we're just not going to let anybody have these dogs, but we knew you. So we knew that you'd have fun with this dog." So,
And they knew that he was going to the right place. So
yeah. Yeah.
which may be why
Yeah.
he like you think he's like a really good chill Malinois because he's just very content and happy.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe we do a good job of running them into the ground.
I have some more logistics questions for you about
Yeah, fire away.
paragliding. So how long are you usually in the air? I know it probably depends on the type of wings you have, I'm assuming. And
Yeah, it
like the
definitely
conditions.
depends.
Yeah.
The kind of the Ducati style, they're called the speed wing. The speed wings that I usually fly, um, this number isn't going to mean anything to you, but it'll be like a 9 square meter to like 15 square meter wing. And
Mm,
you're looking to fly on normal conditions, maybe a couple minutes, because those will fly up to like 60, 80, 90 miles an hour, those wings.
mm,
uh when we're flying like with the dog, that's a full size paraglider, and like we said, we're looking for lift, we're looking to extend our flight, and
right.
it's not uncommon to fly for hours
Wow.
that kind of wing. My longest flight was, I think, was like 4 or 5 hours, and in the grand
Wow.
schemes of things, that's nothing. uh
Wow.
the record for Alaska right now, he was in the air for like, I think, 11 hours or something, but he flew
Whoa.
over 100 miles. Um
Whoa. How do you get back home? I hope somebody was watching him where he
Oh,
was going.
the hitchhiking community is still alive and well in the paragliding world. Let's say that.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but typically, like this summer, me and Pickles were blessed to fly for like an hour and a half one time, and for like an hour another time, and like another like 45-minute flight. And that's a pretty good year for us. We're usually
Yeah.
only flying for about 5 to 10 minutes at a time. We're just doing sledders, is what we call it, where, like I said, you go to a little sledding hill and you just go down when you're sledding.
Right.
So it's little sled rides with chill conditions, is
Right.
usually the case.
Yeah.
But it's most people that you see paragliding are on a full size wing, and their intent is to fly as long as possible. And that can be hours, to the point where there's people who put catheters in to help them urinate.
I was gonna ask how you go to the bathroom too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Because I guess you
Like I
have to
said,
keep your hands, right? Like you gotta have your hands on
not
the
all
thing
the
the whole time.
time.
Not all the time.
Not
Okay.
not all the you should, but you can have a second of relief and let them go to pet your dog per se, or eat some snacks, or
Or to pee
yeah, or to
over
pee.
the air.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. And I'm sure it was a pretty famous video, so but I don't know if you've seen it, but the video of the vulture sitting on a paraglider's pole one
Yes.
time,
I'm
that was
I'm
pretty cool.
I'm buddies with that guy. He is
Oh,
super
cool.
rad. Uh Uro, you you are you. I don't know.
Mm.
He's a super cool Brazilian guy. He rescued this vulture and grew like raised it his whole life, and goes flying with it every single day, and they just have a hoot.
Oh,
And those guys are awesome. I highly suggest you find him on Instagram. Yeah,
oh,
I'm saying
definitely.
his name wrong, but he's awesome. He's super rad. He flies with his dog sometimes and the bird at the same time.
Oh,
Like you
I
just need
love
more
that.
things. You just need
What an
more things.
assembly.
Yeah.
What a team. I absolutely love that. That is so cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
remember
his
seeing
vulture.
that and like being like at first, well, it's cool to know the backstory because at first I was like, is that like a random like a vulture in the air that's like so chill that it's gonna come land on this guy's glider? But that makes sense that it was a rescued vulture.
But those moments do happen in paragliding.
They
It's
do.
it's so interesting. The older you get, the faster bird watching catches up to you, you know what I mean?
Oh, a
And if
hundred
you're
percent.
and if you're a paragliding guy, that it happens pretty quick, because, we're trying to find hot air rising, we're trying to find lift. You will see eagles out there circling around, and if they're going up, you're going to go up. So you go and you
Mhm.
try to join them. Or they've been smart enough now to where they see paragliders and they're like, there's lift over there, let's go join them. And
Whoa. Yeah.
there's every pilot who is had his time in the seat, um, has flown with birds, and they're like, they can be sometimes right there at you. And there's these moments where, like this one time, it was sunset, and a sunset in Alaska is pretty damn dark, late. And
Mm.
so you've already been flying for hours, and you look over and you're enjoying a beautiful sunset in Alaska, and there was like two eagles to my left and one to my right, and they're just like going with me in this lift band, flying along this ridge. And it's like they're close enough you can see right into their eyes. And
Wow.
it's like they know this is a special experience too. There's like this connective moment where they're like, they understand how unique and special it is. At least that's the consensus I get when you're flying with eagles, and you can
Yeah.
see their eye like right into their soul, you know.
Wow. You could pick up
They
on that energy, right? Like energy is
Yeah.
something that like you could just feel and like you notice and are able to be like, "Oh, they
Yeah.
know, I know, we're in a special moment right now."
Yeah, well, also too, it's like we're flying in lift, we're looking for lift. It's like surfing. The waves have to be there to surf them. And all of a sudden, some birds are going to come surf with you for like an hour right there.
Yeah.
Hey, watch a sunset with you. It's crazy. It's like I said, magic. If you could sum it up in the one word, it's paragliding is magic.
That's so cool. I really love that. I was going to ask about the birds too, because that would, I mean, talking about birding creeping up on you. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody that I know like knows that I'm into birding. Like my friend yesterday was like, "Oh yeah, there was a red hawk eagle." I was like, "There's no such thing as a hawk eagle. That's not a thing." And my husband just pipes in from the kitchen like, "Of course you know that." And then I don't know, she started talking about like a kid that she babysits knows what a harpy eagle is, and he was like, and she was like, "Have you seen one of those?" I was like, "Yes, I know what they look like." And my
Of
husband just
course.
goes, of course you know what that looks like."
Yeah.
So I can absolutely relate on birding creeping up on you, but that would be a significantly magical experience, at least for me. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good
So,
time.
have you seen when you're up in the air, like, do you see other wildlife? Like, have you seen
Oh
bears?
yeah.
Have you seen moose? Like, yeah.
Oh yeah. I've flown over bears, moose. One time I flew over a pack of wolves,
Ah,
and of
cool.
course I was kind of being dumb. And it was like sunset, of course, magic hour. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's a popular hiking trail right there. And I was like, oh, there's some dogs having fun. Oh, how cute. Look at that. I'm gonna go fly over there. Look at them. I was like, man, that's a lot of dogs. Oh, those dogs are massive. I was like, oh, that's like 40 dogs. That it was a pack of wolves. And I was circling
Wow.
over them, and they were like a mile away from houses. 2 miles
Wow.
away from houses. They were very close. But yeah. You see all
That's
sorts of stuff.
cool.
It's also Alaska, it's you see
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. This one's very popular place I go flying called Flat Top. It's a Lots of people hike this place, and it's a big valley. So there's a lot of moose in this valley. And there's been
Mhm.
multiple times where I've had to divert my landing operations to not hit a moose or to land over here. So if I can land quick and run away because it's in the rut and there's a bull right there and there's a cow over there and there's another one over there. And so, yeah, you
Right.
see stuff. It's Alaska. You see stuff.
Wow. Hello, wild ones. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. I have some exciting news. This April 2026, me and Dr. Carla Ionescu are taking a couple of lucky people to Greece this year. It is going to be about the goddess Artemis. So, all about the goddess of the wilderness, the forest. We're going to be doing amazing things like exploring her ancient sites where she's worshipped, like Broron and Eleusis, Patras, and a couple of other places, as well as doing archery and claymaking. So I hope that you're enjoying this episode. Check out the link in the description for more information, and we would love to see you there. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Hi, wild ones. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. This episode is sponsored by my clothing brand, FemmeSauvage, and you can find a discount code and link in the description. So check it out. We have a lot of amazing designs, and $5 of the proceeds goes to different charities. So please feel free to check it out and enjoy the rest of the episode. Thanks so much. So that's kind of crazy that you also had to dive away from moose when you're paragliding too.
It's just a part of
Sometimes here and
being
there.
up
I'm
here.
sure that's probably in the scheme of how many times you've gone up, that's a small amount, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, certain times of the year, though, it can happen quite a bit. Like
Mm,
this time of year when they're in the rut,
right.
especially at just certain sites.
Yeah. Is there any like place, because I'm sure Alaska is obviously like beautiful, kind of made for this sport, but is there anywhere else that you've gone or that you want to go, that you want to go do paragliding?
Um, Definitely Salt Lake City, Utah. They have a very nice sanctioned site that they go flying at quite a bit. A lot of people go there to train to learn quickly because the conditions are always right. Of
Ooh.
course, I want to go to France and stuff because they get access to a lot of the ski resorts, which
Oh,
we are
cool.
extremely blessed here in Anchorage to have one of the only ski resorts in North America that lets people fly at it, and it's one of them's here. So in the
Oh,
wintertime, we
cool.
get to go fly here also. But honestly, I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. We are so happy to be Alaskans and we love it here so much that like when you go on vacation, we get excited to go home. What kind of losers are
Aw.
like that? Like we just love it here so much,
That's
and
beautiful.
we have wonderful access to the mountains where there's just trails everywhere. There's not a lot of fences and private property like down south. You see a mountain, you're like, I'm gonna get up there. There's gonna be probably a trail up there already, and there's gonna be nothing stopping you. And
Wow.
it's just much different up here to where, but yeah, there's totally places you want to go, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool too about Utah. It must be nice to have like a place that you always know the weather is going to be good.
Yeah, yeah.
How, so I guess also another question about like logistics or how you go up, like what kind of, I mean, obviously you're looking for some sort of wind, like you can't have a not windy day. Like what kind of conditions are you looking for when you do go out and you're like, okay, this is just right?
When I'm looking for the conditions I'm looking for with the speed wing or flying with the dog is mostly no wind days. A no wind,
Oh, okay.
cloudy, maybe day. Um,
Yeah.
or you hit it at the right time of day because I don't want any lift. I don't want
Mm.
any strong wind to overpower me. Uh, but the window of fun is like 0 to 10 miles an hour. Now, at certain sites, like close to the ocean and close to, like a beach, there's going to be like a dune there, right?
Hmm.
Those places, you can fly off of a tiny little hill with like 10 to 15 miles an hour wind.
Wow.
Now, you can also have run into some problems because that's a lot of wind. You got to know what you're doing. But the window of conditions is varies so much to the point where almost every single day you can go out and fly some kind of wing somewhere if it's not raining.
Mm. Yeah,
So
so is that the
yeah,
only thing that'll stop you if it's raining that you can't fly that, obviously, then?
or strong wind blowing the wrong direction.
Mm.
It's got to be blowing uphill or no wind,
Okay.
basically.
Interesting. Yeah. I guess like that makes sense because of the right, like the heat like rising, like you're trying to catch those, right?
Well, it's like if you're trying to take off and run down a slope and the wind is pushing on your back, it's going to push your wing down to the ground and it's
Mm.
not going to
That
let
makes sense.
you're not going to take off.
That makes sense. Ah, yes. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like, it's fun to also like talk about it because like there's things that you don't even like, I don't know, I didn't even realize that until, like you mentioned
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It might seem complicated, but it is such an easy sport to do. I suggest everybody go try it. If you can ski, you can definitely paraglide. Like honestly, what is it? You take a couple steps forward at not a running pace, a little bit slower, and
Hmm.
then you're sitting in a chair. I mean, anybody can do that. It's
Yeah.
definitely more mentally taxing to get yourself to do those things though, but it's a very easy sport to do.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the more we're talking, I'm like, I wonder if there's any by
Yeah.
me. Like it does sound a
Yeah.
lot of fun because I always say if I ever had like a superpower or something like that, it would definitely be flying. I would love to fly.
Yeah, go out to Utah for a couple weeks, get certified.
Yeah. That's
You can
so
do
that
it.
that's typically how long it takes if you're only focusing on that, like to get certified for what do you become a pilot
Well,
then?
there is certifications where it's not really required at most places you're going to fly, but at some places you're going to fly in the lower 48, it's definitely a requirement that you're certified to a certain level.
Hmm.
And that usually means like around 30 flights with an instructor, and you'll get like your driving permit where you can go by yourself. And during that time, maybe it'll be a couple weeks. It took me a little bit longer because I was up here in Alaska doing it, and the weather just isn't perfect all day, every day,
Right.
to cram out 100 flights in 2 weeks. But yeah, it's typically, what is done. You hang out with an instructor, you think you have it going on, and then you graduate and you're like, whoa, now it's time to be alone, and you get scared and you get some mentorship and you go with some more friends and you just slowly go from there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm sure you have many memorable flights, and I'm sure every time you go out, it's like, oh, this is amazing. But are there any like particular ones that stick out in your head that are like, oh, this was unreal?
Uh, Flying for an hour and a half with Pickles this summer was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We had a low save, is what it's called, where you're looking for lift, you're trying to go up. Well, sometimes you mess up and you don't find it, and you're going down, and you need to find lift again. Well, we were having a hard time finding lift, and we came within like 3 feet from the ground, and we flew
Mhm.
away, and we found a lift, and then got back up to like 4 or 5 thousand feet, and we were just way, way up there, and off of our launch site, and that was pretty memorable. The ones with flying with the Eagles, very memorable. Uh, Another thing that's memorial flights. We had to do a memorial flight for one of my friends who passed away in an accident, and the whole world just came together for us, and it was a beautiful day, and everybody was out there
Oh,
all at once, and that was a memorial, good flight to remember. This just every
yeah.
single time you go out, there's something. It's like a epic
Yeah.
powder day every time,
That's
honestly.
wonderful. And I'm sorry about your friend too, but it's nice that there was a community to get together and celebrate his life.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
sad day.
Yeah. That's what's the nice part about having, at least like a community of people to be able to hold memory and to be able to um I'm assuming that was something that he loved to do, considering that's what you guys all did
Oh
together.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his whole life, of course. And pilot error also, of course.
Uh
Had to say it, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are so I mean, I feel like there's so many things that can like go wrong. Like what are some things like you really need to make sure of when you're about to like take off?
Uh you, the number one thing is making sure you're okay. Like,
Yeah.
what's pushing you to go out today, especially when you're flying speed wings, you know, are you doing it for the gram? Are you doing it for the Instagram, bro? Um, who are you doing it for? That would probably be the biggest factor. And then just your conditions. Uh, you're mostly a weatherman in this sport, and
Right.
my wife always says I'd make a good weatherman on TV. I'm one of those guys that I don't know what I'm going to be when I grow up, even though I've had this solid career forever.
That's all right. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, honestly, you are going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to make a bad call. You're going to try hot dogging it in front of your friends at landing. You're going to try to perform some maneuver that you're not ready for, mostly. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's going to be you. It's going to be you.
They say that because I've been horseback riding since I was 6, and even though it's a animal you're working with, I was always taught that if you fall off, it's almost always your fault because you're the one that has
Yeah,
to guide and like
you're in
work with your
charge.
horse. Yeah, right. So it's kind of your responsibility to make sure that they're okay, even if they spook at something. So very similar, I feel like in that regard. Also, did you ever end up going skydiving, or you were just hooked on the paragliding from there on
I
out?
did one time. I went skydiving one time about a year or two before, and I am honestly very happy that the skydiving, I'm not happy the skydiving place wasn't open. I'm happy I went
Right.
the route of paragliding because it's such a bigger world in paragliding. You know, you can do things like going camping with your wing, where you fly to other sites out in the mountains. You can fly with your dog. It's
Yeah.
free. It's, you know, you put some food in your face and then you go get up a mountain and there you go. It's not $50 a jump every jump. It's
Right. Once you have the equipment,
and
that's it. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Very
But, you
cool.
know, the finding your wild you know, I wanted to say this. Yeah, the finding your wild stuff. I think I've been thinking about it ever since you wanted to do this, and what that means for most men in this society is you can only find your wild in certain ways. You have to go fishing or hunting or something in those ultra manly fashions to enjoy
Right.
your wild, and
Mhm.
finding your wild can be finding it your own way. And for me, it's doing some extreme stuff like paragliding or rock climbing or going snowboarding with your dog or doing these things. It can be what it is for you. It's your wild. And
Mhm.
you don't have to go hunting. You don't have to go fishing. I hate fishing. I'm an Alaskan that hates fishing so much.
You know what? And that's
I
okay. And
yeah, and
that's
that's
okay.
okay. It's finding it for yourself. It's your version of how you enjoy the outdoors. And it
Yeah.
just happens, mine happens to be just, you know, hiking to these beautiful sites and taking flight off of them. It can be whatever it is for you. If it is fishing, that's rad,
Right.
but it's just not my jam.
Yeah.
And
And
I
I
like to
think,
show
yeah.
people what my jam is too. Like how the Instagram kind of played into it is I grew up a skater kid, and I always, you know, made skate videos and liked doing that stuff. And as I grew up and you know got older, I was like, nobody's really like doing the kind of skating I like to do now and showcasing that. Nobody's doing the kind of flying I like to do now and showcasing that. Very few people are. And it's
Yeah.
just fun to find it for yourself and to realize that not everybody has that wild, and it's a gift to have that in you. And it's worth
Yeah.
sharing to other people. And
Um,
that's like it's worth doing this podcast. You know, it's worth it.
Thank you so much, first of all, for like, just mulling it over and thinking about it, and even just
Yeah.
saying that for men, so they're not like boxed in, because I think that there really is this, and I think it's so important that
Yeah.
like there's just this black and white way of thinking in regards to, oh, you have to do something manly in this way, or if you like
Or
doing,
you're yeah.
yeah, or like, it's, there's multiple, and like that's why I love it. It's like there is multiple ways that you can find your wilds, and like that's how, like, you can find it through art, you can find it through, even if you just go like going for a walk, you can find it going into the park and just sitting on a bench. Like maybe that's more your thing, but and I love that you said it's a gift too, right? Like that sense of like calling and adventure to connect with nature is just something that unfortunately not everybody gets. Like I remember telling somebody a story that
Yeah.
like, I saw a stag from a train when I was traveling Europe, and it like stopped me in my tracks. It looked like it was staring at me, and it was like magical. And I remember telling this beautiful story, and this lady goes, "That's so nice. I'm not like that. I like literally wouldn't care." And I was like,
Uh,
you know what? That's okay too. Um, but that's what like makes like, and I love that you also, for your Instagram, you're trying to put your own unique perspective and be like, I'm going to showcase how I do things in my way, and like, and share that, and then maybe somebody else will pick that up, and then that's what they find that they love, or maybe they just are interested in it, or they like doing it, or they even do something else but that's a little different. There's all different things, and each little piece, like, right, like there's no one else like you that's a welder that takes their dog paragliding, that also skate skates with their dog. Like there's all these unique things that you're putting out into the world too. And I think that's just like also everybody's importance out there. Everybody's putting their own unique spin on things, and there's no one else like you, and it's cool to be able to connect with people in that way. And I don't know, just showcasing your uniqueness. Like don't fall in line with everybody else, you know? Like you never know what you're gonna
Yeah.
create when you go do your own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. All that
Yeah.
stuff.
I also used to skate when I was younger a little bit too. Like just a wee bit.
Yeah.
I knew a couple of tricks, but I wouldn't say I was like
Yeah.
a super expert or anything.
Well, get some skates. Get out there. It's a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I used to well, I would just realize I used to skate both with the rollerblades and skateboarding. Both of those things. I used to be very good at skating. I used to be able to go backwards in my driveway, and then I totally lost it. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, Jake, I think this was so much fun. Thank you so much for
yeah.
showcasing like what you do, and I find it so cool and fascinating, and I can't wait to see more of your adventures. Obviously, I hope you stay safe every time.
Yes.
And don't scare your poor wife again with a bad accident like that, but
$20. $20 when I don't tell her when I
yeah.
landed.
Yeah. Thinking of
It's
your wife.
expensive.
So
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm just thank you so much for coming on, and like even just thinking about Find Your Wild, and I loved your perspective on it. I thought that was really awesome, and it's been really nice to be able to connect with you. So tell people listening where they can find you and look at all your cool adventures.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for having me. This was a good time. I didn't
Yeah.
didn't really go out thinking I'd be asked to do a podcast anytime in my day. So of course I had to say
Oh,
yes, and it
cool.
was a
Well, you know
wonderful
what?
time.
I'm happy to have you on, and I'm sure people listening really enjoyed your stories. And yeah.
All right. Cool.
Oh wait, just tell people your the name of your Instagram where they can find you.
My name is Jake Long. My Instagram handle is Jake and the Flying Pickles.
Perfect. Okay, great. I'll make sure to tag it too so people can easily find you, but just so that people listening can follow you too. But thank you so much again for being here, and thank you so much, Wild Ones, for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you.
Revel in the moment like a river flowing to the sea. I feel the energy of life force flowing all through me, and I'll allow it all to dance with my body and play. And no one could ever convince me to give my power away. 'Cause the motion of the ocean, it fills my soul, and all the power of the flower of life, it moves me and it makes me whole. And the mountains so high and so deep, I feel in my bones. In the call of the wild's always bringing